Hello students, welcome back to our biology session. So, today starting with our new chapter. The name of the chapter is Seeds. This is our sixth chapter. Seeds, the structure and germination. So, as the name of the chapter says, we need to learn the structure and the germination process of the seed. What do you understand by germination? In simple words, germination means how does a seed grow into a new plant. Okay. Now, how are we going to proceed with this chapter? What all things are we going to study and learn in this chapter? First of all, the three important definitions which you all need to very well know is about the definition of a seed, definition of a fruit, and the definition of grain. Okay, these three important definitions. Then we are going to understand the characteristics, the general characteristics of the seed. Also, we need to learn about the classification of the seeds. The seeds have been classified on the different types, like on the basis of their size, on the number of the cotyledons, based on the presence or the absence of their endosperms, right? But before I start with this chapter, I would want you all to take a pause, just pause this video and quickly go to your kitchens and get any type of a seed. When I say any type of a seed, as in kitchen में आपको कौन सा seed मिलेगा? I would want you all to get either a rajma bean, okay, which is also a seed. Okay, why do I call it a seed? Because if you sow the seed, you will get a rajma plant. Okay, therefore I call it as a seed. Okay, so anything, if you all don't eat or don't consume rajma, you all can even get moong. Okay, see, I don't think so you all will be able to see this. It's too tiny, moong. Okay, or you all can even get this chavli. What is chavli called? It is called as black-eyed pea or black-eyed bean. Okay, black eye. It looks like आँख है किसकी? Okay, so black-eyed bean. Okay, so please pause this video for a moment and go to your kitchens and get any one of the three seeds. Why? Because it would be really interesting for you all to take the structure of the seed in your hand and examine it and learn along with me, as in when I'm trying to make you all understand the structure. Okay, now let me continue with my session, that is understanding the definition of seed, right? So what exactly is seed? I guess this is the fourth or the fifth time that I'm explaining you all what is the structure of the seed. We started this definition right from the chapter flower. Then we even understood about the same definition in the chapter pollination and fertilization, and again in the chapter seeds we are understanding what is seed. It is nothing but the ripened ovule. In the structure of the flower, when the ovule part ripens, that is nothing but it forms the seed. Okay, so seed is nothing but it is the ripened ovule. What does it contain? It contains the embryo which further develops into the new plant. How? By the process of germination, which we have to learn and understand in this chapter. Now what else is present on the structure of seed? You all can see this second layer on the structure of the seed. This is nothing but, as I have labeled with the arrow, it is nothing but seed coat. What does it do? And the seed coats are two in number, the testa and tegmen. We would understand the details of this testa and tegmen in the structure of the seed. As of now, it is only the seed coat part. What does it do? It protects the embryo from any kind of mechanical damage. Mechanical damage as in any harsh climatic condition, any entry of the germ, any heat, any rainfall, heavy rainfall conditions, any drought conditions, all these conditions are being, the seed is secured, the seed is safe. Why? Because of this seed coat. The common examples of seed are bean seeds or even the pea seed. Okay. So this is all about the definition of the seed. What is the fruit? Now here I have made the diagram of a mango fruit. Inside the mango fruit there is a mango seed. Okay. There is a covering on this mango fruit that is called as fruit wall, also called as pericarp. Okay. So what is a fruit? It is nothing but the ripened ovary, right? So for your information, as I hope you all remember that the ovary part gets converted into the fruit, right? ऐसे ovary part, उसके ऊपर रहता है style and then रहता है stigma. Okay, so the ovary part gets converted into fruit. The fruit wall gets converted into the ovarian wall. Okay, yeah. The fruit here protects the seed. The seed is inside the fruit. So here the fruit is actually nothing, but it acts as the protection for the seed. Also, it is the fruit that helps in the dispersal of the seed. Now, when I say that the fruit helps in dispersal of the seed, now how is it possible? It is obvious that seed cannot hip, hop and jump. I don't say that the fruit can hip, hop and jump, but when the fruit is hanging on the on trees, the fruit can fall down, right? They can fall anywhere. Okay, so when they can fall anywhere, they are going to fall along with the seed. It's not that they are going to keep the seed on the structure of the trees and they are going to fall alone, right? So therefore it is being said that it is the fruit that are responsible for the dispersal of the seeds also. So wherever the fruit is going to fall, maybe we are going to pick up the fruit, like mangoes नीचे गिर जाते हैं, so we generally go and run. These days nobody does that, but then we used to, in older days, we used to, our parents used to, I would say, not we, our parents used to just rush and go and collect all these mangoes. Okay, or at times, if in these days when mangoes generally fall off, okay, so what happens to them? Different kinds of birds, yeah, animals, they eat these mangoes. So what happens to the seed part? They are being dispersed to different places, right? So there, wherever these seeds are being placed, there they start germinating. Okay, so wherever they have been dropped, right, wherever the fruit has been fallen, that becomes the site of the dispersal of that seed, right? So here, therefore, the fruit helps in the dispersal of the seed also. Okay, a common example here which I have given is that of the mango fruit. Now, what exactly is the grain and what's the difference between the fruit and seed and grain? Now, grain is that structure. Grains, you all must have heard about wheat grain, jawar, bajra, maize, etc. These all are included under the categories of grain. Okay, now what is the difference between the normal fruits or vegetables or normal seeds, and what's the difference between these cereals or these grains? Now grains are those structures in which they are considered as those fruits in which the fruit wall as in ये covering जो है, the fruit wall and the seed coat, ठीक है? Fruit wall इधर है, seed coat इधर है. These two structures are fused with each other, forming a single protective covering. I hope you all understood. The fruit wall, this outermost covering, and the seed coat are fused together to form a single protective covering. मतलब बीच का जो pulp का part है, which is generally seen in the structure of the fruit, that is not present in any of the structures of the grain. The common example is the wheat grain or jawar or bajra or maize, etc. Right? Clear? So these are the three important definitions which are included as the first part included in the first part of the chapter. Now, apart from these definitions, you even need to know about the characteristics of the seeds. Now, this general characteristics are going to include few points which you have already known in the definition part. The first point, which says that it is the mature ovule which is being formed after fertilization. Definitely, it is only when the fertilization has happened, then the ovule is going to mature. When I say mature, it means ripened. Okay? It is only then when the fertilization has happened, the ovule is going to ripe and mature, and you are going to result in the formation of the seed. Okay? It is this seed that contains embryo. Embryo means the one embryo. अब embryo के पहले का stage होता है generally zygote. And zygote is formed by the fusion of the male and the female gamete. Please try to recollect your concepts of chapter pollination and fertilization, my dear students, where we understood that when the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, it is only then that the structure of zygote is formed. It is zygote which further forms your structure of embryo. And it is this embryo which is embedded inside the structure of your mature ovule, which is nothing but the seed. Right? Now, this embryo, or you can say this seed, is in the dormant state. Now, when I say it's in the dormant state, dormant as in it's in the sleeping mode. Now, sleeping mode doesn't mean that आराम कर रहा है seed. No, no. When the baby is growing in the mother's womb for 9 months, we generally tend to believe that the baby is resting in mother's womb. Is that the scenario? Do you all think that for 9 months the baby in mother's womb is sleeping, or the baby is resting? No, my dear children. If that would have been the scene, then the baby would have been only in the form of zygote, that is just a single dot. But when the baby is born after 9 months, the baby is actually this sized, right? That means what exactly is happening in 9 months of period? The baby is growing in mother's womb, right? The process of cell division is happening. In the process of cell division, the baby has to absorb food. The baby has to undergo the process of cell division. The baby has to undergo the process of cell absorption of the nutrients and many other processes where the baby needs energy. Okay, so equal efforts are being taken by the baby also. So when I say that the embryo is in the dormant state, that's a wrong saying that when we say that the baby or the baby plant is sleeping or resting. No, the plant is resting, but the plant is preparing itself to begin the process of germination. Okay, so in the dormant state, the plant is preparing itself to begin the process of germination. Now, seed itself, within it also has the food material, right, stored in it. And where is it stored? It is stored in the form of endosperm. Also, it is the embryo that can withstand various unfavorable conditions. Why? Since it is in the resting phase, the embryo is not having much of demands, and therefore many unfavorable conditions could be handled by the embryo in that dormant state. Okay, I hope the characteristics are clear. Continuing with the classification of the seeds. Now, here the seeds are classified. First is based on the number of the cotyledons. Now, first of all, understand what do you mean by cotyledon. I would just want to take the structure of Rajma bean over here. Okay. Now, if this is the bean, and if I would slice this Rajma bean into 2 parts, okay, if this is the bean and if I would slice it into 2 parts from the center, ठीक है, इधर से अगर मैं कट करूँगी, it's not a knife, एंड इफ आई गेट टू पार्ट्स, ये दो पोर्शन में ऐसे बटरफ्लाई की तरह खुल जाता है. ओके, दिस bean opens into two parts, then those two parts like this, those would be called as the cotyledons. Generally जब ये seed germinate होता है, okay, when it starts growing, these cotyledons rise up above on the surface of the earth in the form of the baby leaves. So when the plant shows first leaves, the first baby leaves which are seen on the plant, when they are two in number, so matlab it is clear that the seed is a dicotyledon seed, and when it is single in number, then it is clear that it is a monocotyledon seed. क्योंकि सीड को देख के आप कभी जज नहीं कर पाओगे whether it is a monocot or a dicot seed. Okay, and if you cut it, yes, definitely you cut a life, you cut an embryo, right? So classification of seed based on the number of the cotyledons. So monocot and dicot, only classification is monocot, it has one cotyledon, that is one seed leaf. Dicot, they have two cotyledons, that is two seed leaves. Examples is monocot, examples are maize and grasses. Dicot mein examples are pea and beans. Okay, you will just remember two examples, that is sufficient for you all in for your exams. The types of seeds based on their size. Now, the seeds can be small seeds, like for example poppy seeds. Now poppy seeds are very small in size. Poppy का मतलब होता है खसखस. I don't know how many of them know about खसखस, but then they in English they are called as poppy seeds or even orchid seeds. Now they are that small that they cannot be visible by your naked eye. Okay, the seeds are that small in size. Therefore, they are called as small seeds. Okay. The second category would be quite large in size, like for example watermelon, or you can even say moong, or you can even consider this chavli seeds, right? So these are quite large in size, which are clearly visible with your naked eye. And the third category would be largest seeds, that would be those of the coconut seed. Coconut seed as in when you break a coconut, there is the seed at times inside, that is nothing but the seed of the coconut. Or at times there is double coconut seed also, two coconuts which are combined together. Okay, the seeds of those are considered as the largest seeds. Types which are based on the presence or the absence of the endosperm. Now, as you all know, and as we learned in the structure, I would just draw it here. Please try to recollect. This was the structure of the ovary. Here was the ovule. यहाँ पर आपका zygote बना था, यहाँ पर आपका endosperm बना था. If you all remember, okay. Now, endosperm generally is nothing but required for the nourishment of the growing embryo. Okay. अब depending upon whether the endosperm is completely utilized or not, ठीक है, कभी कभी एम्ब्रियो को ग्रो करने में पूरा एंडोस्पर्म यूटिलाइज हो जाता है. व्हाट एम आई सेइंग? कभी कभी एम्ब्रियो मतलब बेबी को ग्रो करने में, बेबी प्लांट को ग्रो करने में पूरा एंडोस्पर्म यूटिलाइज हो जाता है. When that is the case, the seed is called as non-endospermic. Non-endospermic, there is no endosperm. Why? Because the entire endosperm is being utilized. Okay? Then, when that is the case, okay, non-endospermic means it is also called as X-albuminous seeds, or it is also called as non-albuminous seeds. अब when the entire endosperm is utilized for the growth of the embryo, there who will give the nourishment, okay, to the growing seed? मतलब अभी plant को grow करने के लिए और nourishment कहाँ से मिलेगा? So it is obvious that there the cotyledons will have to store the food, okay, and there the cotyledons become thick and fleshy. Okay, the cotyledons there, they store the food and they become thick and fleshy. एंडोस्पर्म क्या हो जाता है, वो टोटली यूटिलाइज हो जाता है इन दैट केस. क्यों? क्योंकि एंडोस्पर्म वो अपना पूरा खाना बढ़ते बच्चे को दे देता है. बट वो केस में फ्रूट का क्या? अंडरस्टूड, सीड तो ग्रो हो रहा है, फ्रूट का क्या? ओके, तो वो केस में फिर कॉटिलेडॉन स्टोर करता है सारा खाना एंड इट बिकम्स थिक एंड फ्लेशी. ओके, सो एग्जांपल्स ओवर हियर इज gram, pea and mango. These are the examples of dicot seeds, and monocot seeds का example is orchids and vallisneria. Okay, now second type is endospermic seeds. Now endospermic जहाँ पर endosperm रहता है, the seed doesn't utilize the embryo doesn't utilize the entire endosperm for its nourishment. तो endosperm still remains. तो मतलब cotyledons are not thick enough. The cotyledons are thin. Okay, so here the cotyledons are thin and membranous and the endosperm still persist. पूरा का पूरा endosperm utilize नहीं हो जाता है for the nourishment of the embryo. ठीक है? The examples are poppy seeds and custard apple seeds, and monocot में examples are cereals and palm. Okay, I hope this classification of the seeds based on their different types are clear to you all. Okay, this was the second part of the chapter. Okay, discussing about the classification of the seeds. So first part discussed about the different definitions and the characteristics of seed. The second part discussed about the classification of seeds. Starting with the third and the important part of the chapter that talks about the structure of the seed. Now here I would want you all to hold a proper seed in your hand. Okay, why? Because then only it would be really easy for you all to know entire structure. Okay, now here the example is that of a common bean seed. अभी कोई भी सीड को अगर आप ले लो तो जनरल स्ट्रक्चर में आप देखोगे दैट इट इज़ अ किडनी शेप स्ट्रक्चर विच हैज़ बोथ द कॉन्वेक्स पार्ट. ओके, आई वुड जस्ट टेक अ किडनी rajma bean. Why? Because this is little big in size, right? Now you would see that this is a kidney shaped seed which has both the convex part, this one, and the concave part, that is this one. It has both the sides, convex as well as concave side. Now it has the seed coat, the outermost seed coat, that is called as testa. ठीक है, वो मैंने peel नहीं किया है, but if I would try to peel it off, so it's not a soaked seed, so I'm not able to peel it off. Okay, why? So the reason is because it's too hard. So this is the hard protective outermost covering which is called as testa. If you all try to peel it off with your nail, नहीं हो पाएगा. This clearly shows that it is the hard protective covering called as testa, which really is protective. When I say it's protective, it gives protection to that seed from any kinds of shock, any kinds of injury, any entrance of the germs. Inner to this protective covering, there is another seed coat which is called as tegmen. Outermost is testa, inner to that is tegmen. Even that is protective, but that protection is something else. Like अंदर के ऑर्गन्स को और प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए होता है tegmen. ओके, सो सबसे बाहर इस टेस्टा, उसके अंदर इस tegmen. ओके, नाउ आपको बीच में व्हाइटिश स्कार दिखेगा. ओके, इफ यू विल हैव दिस चवली, इधर तो इसमें तो क्लियरली दिख रहा है. ठीक है, आई होप इन माई वीडियो ऑल्सो दिस थिंग इज क्लियर. You can see the white scar in between, right? What is that white scar? That is called as hilum. Okay, now what is that part, hilum? Now this part is the point where the ovule is attached to the ovary at the point by the tissue called as placenta. ठीक है, ovule is attached to the ovary at the point of placenta. Okay, so we learnt about hilum, we learnt about testa, tegmen. Okay, ये 3 important parts हमने पढ़े. Rest I couldn't fit in this slide, but soon I'll be coming up with the next slide and explain you all the complete structure of this seed. Again, I would be drawing the same diagram, and I would please request you all to keep the seed structure in your hand so that I can continue teaching you all the diagram of the structure of the seed. Thank you. Yes, students, in the last session we had started with the structure of the seed. Okay, and in the structure of the seed I had started explaining you all the coat of the seed, saying that the seed coat shows the presence of two seed coats. The outer seed coat, that is called as testa. Okay, this was the seed what we had considered. The outer seed coat, that is called as testa. Inner to testa is tegmen. Both are protective in function. We even studied about the point that is called as hilum. That is this point. If you all remember, this one. Okay, which was very clear in this black eye P, right? The white color center part, that is called as hilum. Okay, now what was the role of the hilum? This is the point where the ovule is attached to the ovary at the point of the placenta. This is all what we had started with by knowing the structure of the seed. In today's session, we shall continue the structure of the seed. Now, what do I want you all to see in the structure of the seed more? I hope you all are holding at least one seed with you all as suggested you all in the last session. Now, about the this scar, this oval whitish scar called as hilum, you all would see a small hole that is called as microphyll. Okay, this was the same point in the structure of the flower through which the pollen tube could enter at the time of fertilization. Right? Now, what is the role of this microphyll? Now, as said, this is the opening close to the hilum. This is the point through which the pollen tube enters at the time of fertilization. What is the role of this microphyll? Now, this microphyll generally is required for the exchange of the gases, exchange of respiratory gases, so that this seed can breathe. Okay, taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide, that is the key role of this microphyll. Okay, the microphyll which is present just above your hilum point. What apart from the diffusion of the respiratory gases is the role? The gases includes the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, what apart from that? It also helps in the absorption of the water. The moment you soak these seeds in water, what happens to them? Okay, they swell up, right? How do they swell up? The water enters through this microphylla end. Okay, you maybe take rajma bean, maybe you take this black-eyed pea bean, any example of the seed you take. Whenever you try to soak these beans, now soaking should not be for half an hour or for an hour. These beans should be soaked mainly for 4 hours or 6 hours, where you can see the swelling in this kind of beans, okay, in this kind of seeds. Now what you would see is the microphyll starts to absorb the water. Okay, the moment it starts to absorb the water, what is this water doing? It further helps that absorbed water helps the embryo to grow internally. Now, for your understanding, what I have done is I have opened a rajma bean. Okay, a rajma seed. What did I do is, this is a closed seed. Okay, I don't know how clear would it be for y'all to see it in video, but I have just tried to open this bean, as in I have just cut it with the knife. Okay, and this is the exact image what I could see internally. Okay, now what exactly is this? Now, so I would just try to zoom this Rajma bean in my camera. If you are able to see, that's good enough, or else I'm even going to share an image of this bean in your slide. Okay, now let me explain you all what is this. This is nothing but this is the embryo which is having the plumule end and the radical end. Okay, now here the embryo is being divided into two parts. You would see that this embryo is being fixed to the two cotyledons. What are these two? These two are nothing but these are cotyledons. Okay, these two are nothing but these are cotyledons. So the embryo is attached or it is fixed to both the cotyledons, and this embryo shows two important parts. Okay, this side which shows two baby leaves, like leaf-like structure, this is called as the plumule part, which further gives rise to the shoot system of the plant, and the lower part is called as radicle, which gives rise to the root system of the plant. Okay, and this entire forms the embryo. This entire structure forms the embryo. Okay, clear? So this is what I have mentioned here. The embryo shows two important parts, the radical part and the plumule part. Radical further develops into the root system. Plumule further forms the shoot system, which shows the presence of two baby leaves. Okay, students, please be very clear. If I say radical, chemistry में भी एक होता है radical, I guess. Okay, so please don't mistaken with that radical. We are talking about biology. Okay, here the radical forms a root system. There the radicals are the ionic forms of the molecules. Okay, no, we are not talking about those radicals. We are clearly mentioning about this radical which forms the root system. Okay, I hope this entire structure of the bean seed is clear. Let us understand the structure of the monocot seed, that is a maize grain. As you all know that a grain is nothing but it's a fruit in which the fruit wall, already mentioned to you all, the fruit wall and the seed coat, they both are fused together, right, forming a single protective covering. Now when I say the fruit cover and the seed coat both are fused together, that means there is no pulp part in between. Okay, now this is the structure of the maize grain. I have not written any description. What I will do is I will just explain you all the entire diagram. Simultaneously, please be attentive listening to what I am explaining in the structure, because that itself is going to be the description of the maize grain. Okay, so I have not written any description, but what I am going to explain itself is going to be the description. Okay, now if you would just notice, the maize grain is being divided into two important parts. One half is forming the embryo and the second half is forming the endosperm. Okay, the endosperm is having a protective covering which is called as aleuron layer. Okay, this is the endosperm part which is having a protective covering called as aleuron layer. You all could not see any endosperm in the bean seed, but in the maize grain, clearly half of the seed is showing your clearly showing you all the endosperm part. Okay, and this endosperm is highly rich in starch. That means is going to supply the food to the developing embryo. Okay, now here the oval shaped structure, the red color structure what I have shown is nothing but the entire embryo. Okay, and as you all know, the embryo is divided into plumule part and the radical part. The upper part is the plumule part, the lower part is the radical part. Okay, now the plumule part is further having a protective covering which is called as coleoptile. Okay, plumule is having a protective covering called as coleoptile, and The radicle is having a protective covering around it called as coleorhiza. Okay, it is called as coleorhiza, right? Now, this structure of embryo or the structure of the maize grain is having only one cotyledon. As I already mentioned, it is an example of a monocot. Okay, it's an example of a monocot seed. It's having only one cotyledon, and that cotyledon in it is called as scutellum. That one cotyledon that is present in the maize grain is called as scutellum. Together, all these structures, coleoptile covering the plumule, coleorhiza covering the radicle, along with one cotyledon called as scutellum, together forms the structure of the embryo. Right? That is one half of the seed. Okay? Now, there is a separation. The two halves, the endosperm part and the embryo part, are further being separated from each other by an epithelial tissue. Okay, that epithelial tissue is being drawn by the highlighted red color portion. Okay, so these two parts are clearly and evidently separated from each other by the epithelial tissue. Okay, I hope the structure and the description of the maize grain is clear with you all. Okay, I once again repeat all the terms. Aleurone layer, which is a protective layer around the endosperm, which is rich in starch, provides the food to the growing embryo. Embryo showing the presence of plumule covered by coleoptile, radicle covered by coleorhiza, and containing one monocotyledon called as scutellum. Both the endosperm and the embryo separated by the epithelial tissue. And this is all about the maize grain structure that you'll have to study. So now, as we know about the structure of the bean seed and the maize grain, let us differentiate between the two. Bean seed, it is having two cotyledons. Maize grain having one cotyledon, and by now you all know what is the cotyledon in maize grain called. It is called as scutellum. Bean seed, there is no endosperm, as I already mentioned. Here you would see a large endosperm which is easily differentiated from the embryo part by an epithelial tissue. In bean seed, the embryo is quite large enough, and in maize grain, though the part of the embryo is large enough, but the embryo present in that part is quite small. Okay, so we could mention that the embryo is small in the maize grain. Okay. In bean seed, the plumule leaves get folded, and in maize grain, the leaves are rolled up. Plumule is large in bean seed, and in maize grain, the plumule is very small. Bean seed, the hilum and microphyll are very clearly visible. In maize grain, no, these points like hilum and microphyll are not at all visible. Okay, they are not clearly visible. Rather, their structure is very different as compared to the normal structure of a seed, as it's a grain. Here, the seed is separated in the structure of the fruit. And here, as we know that the seed wall and the fruit wall, they both combine with each other, forming a single protective covering, and therefore it is called as a grain. Okay, so यहाँ पर there's a clear-cut differentiation between the seed and the fruit, but that's not the case in case of the grain. Okay, there is no as such specification that this is the fruit part, this is the seed part. ऐसा कोई specification नहीं है as far as if we consider the examples of the grain. Okay, so these are the major points of differentiation between the seed and the grain in general, or specifically bean seed and maize grain. Okay, I hope these concepts related to the structure of a monocot and a dicot seed are pretty clear with you all. That was, I guess, the third part of the chapter which we have covered by now. The fourth part talks about the process of germination. So till now we have completed to know about the structure part of the seeds, okay, where we studied about the classification also, we studied about the characteristics of seed, we studied about few definitions, along with that we studied about the detailed structures of the monocot and the dicot seed. Understanding about the second part of the chapter that talks about germination. Now, simple definition of germination means to grow. Okay, that means, as I have mentioned, the process of conversion of a seedling to a plant, or a process of conversion of a seedling from embryo is called as germination. As in, seedling का मतलब क्या होता है? What does it mean? It means that a small plantlet. A seedling means seed से जब छोटी छोटी leaves आना, छोटे छोटे leaves आना चालू हो जाते हैं, that structure is called as seedling. Okay, so मतलब initial stage was zygote developed to embryo, and embryo now is beginning its life to seedling will get converted to plantlet to plant to tree. इस तरह से वो proceed होता है. Okay, and this entire process में the conversion from the embryo to seedling is called as germination. Now, we all have known in the characteristic parts of the seed that seed always remains in a dormant stage initially. Okay, and in the dormant stage the seed is inactive. As I have already even mentioned in my past slide, dormant stage doesn't mean that the seed is sleeping, okay, or that doesn't mean that the seed is resting. Though dormancy means sleeping state, but that clearly doesn't define that a seed is resting. It is mere preparing itself for the next phase of cell division, for the next phase of growth. Okay, so we have to clearly understand the meaning that whenever, like for example, if you all are eating a mango, okay, I'll just give you all an example. If you all are eating a mango, while eating mango, you all just drop the seed, okay. तो जब आप seed गिराते हो, when you all drop the seed, maybe in a garden, don't expect that the seed within a week is going to get converted into a seedling. मतलब वो germinate होना चालू नहीं होगा. No ways. That seed is definitely going to undergo the process of dormancy or dormant stage. Okay, इसका मतलब क्या है? Seed does not germinate until and unless it passes through the period of dormancy. It takes many seeds. There are examples of seed, like for example lotus seed. You all know what's the dormancy period of lotus seed? It is 250 years and above. That means that seed can remain in that stage, sleeping stage, for more than 250 years. That doesn't mean that seed is dead. Okay, that even doesn't mean that that seed is in coma. No. That seed is having embryo, that seed is having a life in it. Okay, just that it's in its dormant stage. It's yet not prepared to face the world. Okay, so any unfavorable condition, yes, the seed can face in the dormant stage. The moment the conditions are favorable, only then the seed will come out of its dormancy stage. Now, even if the seed is in dormancy stage, don't be in that belief that the seed is not breathing. Definitely the seed is going to require oxygen for its breathing. Only differences are the content, the concentration, the quantity is very minimal. Okay, so it is going to take in oxygen, it is going to release out carbon dioxide, but the concentration, the quantity is very minimal. Okay, the proportions are very less. The food is also going to be required by that seed, by that embryo to grow. Okay, in those dormant phases, in those dormant stages, but then even the content of that food required would be very minimal. Now where do they get that food from? Either from the endosperm or from the cotyledons. They have either of the sources, right? अगर एंडोस्पर्म से पूरा खाना खत्म हो जाता है, then they are reliable on cotyledons. Okay, and if both these sources are over, then finish. Then the seed will have to now wake up and finish off its dormancy phase and start to begin its process of growth, that is germination. Okay, so please remember this point always, that whenever a seed falls from a fruit, it takes its own time, minimum a month or 2 or maybe 3 months, maybe years, to be in its own dormant stages. So when I showed you all the examples of those rajma beans or all those seeds which you all have stored in your refrigerators or in your fridge or anywhere in your store containers at your houses, in what form are they? They all are in the dormant form. Okay, they all are resting. The moment you all add water in them, the microfile starts absorbing water and then they swell up. The moment you all put them in mud, then they will become active, they will begin to germinate. Matlab, they break their seed coats and a new plant arises from that seed. Okay, so this is how the beautiful process of germination begins from the plant. Okay, it begins from the seed. Clear? Yeah. So let us see what are the conditions which are necessary for the germination. One important condition is water. Definitely water is required. Now where do seeds absorb water from? It's from the soil, right? They absorb it from the soil, and through what opening? Through the microfile opening. There are two important uses of this water. One is the moment they absorb the water, what happens is their seed coat breaks. Okay, their seed coat breaks. The moment their seed coat breaks, नीचे से ऐसे फट से रेडिकल एमर्ज होता है एंड उनका रूट सिस्टम डेवलप होना चालू हो जाता है. So one important use is to form their root system, and second important use is to begin with all their chemical reactions, to activate all their enzymes. Why? So that the stored food, maybe in the endosperm or maybe in the cotyledons, वो क्या होता है ना, that food is not in the form that they can be used up by the plant. स्टार्च फॉर्म में होता है. स्टार्च काफ़ी हैवी फॉर्म है, ठीक है. वो बेचारे इतना छोटा एम्ब्रियो एब्जॉर्ब नहीं कर सकता है. सो टू कन्वर्ट इट इनटू द डाइजेस्टेबल फॉर्म, इनटू द एब्जॉर्बेबल फॉर्म, क्या करना पड़ता है? एंजाइम्स को एक्टिवेट करना पड़ता है, केमिकल रिएक्शंस कैरी आउट करने पड़ते हैं, एंड वो सारी चीज़ों के लिए व्हाट इज द रिक्वायरमेंट? वाटर. ओके, द मोमेंट वाटर हैज बीन एब्जॉर्ब, what happens is all these chemical reactions takes place, all the enzymes have been activated, the food is converted into simple forms, and then it is being utilized by the embryo easily. Okay, diffusible form में convert हो जाता है food and it is utilized by the embryo. Okay, second important factor is suitable temperature. Less temperature, no. High temperature, no. बहुत ठंडी, the embryo will freeze. Baby, it's a small baby, it's going to feel very cold in the low temperature. High temperature, it's too hot. The heat is not going to be acceptable by the embryo. Okay, so what is the suitable temperature? Yes, the appropriate apt temperature, that is called as the optimum temperature, is 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, which is best for the seed to germinate, to grow. Okay, 2-3 degrees less or more is still okay. The seed would germinate, but not the best, which it's going to show at 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Oxygen. Now, oxygen, we all know that all the living organisms survive with the help of oxygen. Now, it is the oxygen when we breathe, yes, and when we need energy, we need oxygen. An embryo is in a continuous process of cell division, cell growth. Definitely, it's in the great demand of energy. Great demand of energy means a high requirement of oxygen. So, no question that oxygen requirements for a seed are very high. Okay, the oxygen demands for a seed should be always high. Sometimes this is mostly seen that seeds, okay, when we try to sow some seeds, okay, and when we deeply sow them, they fail to germinate. Okay, we don't see that the seeds germinate. Now, why is that so? One important reason is because they don't get sufficient supply of oxygen. As I said, they are babies, they are seeds. They undergo rapid cell division, they undergo rapid cell growth. They need maximum oxygen. If they don't get oxygen, they will die. अंदर ही गड़ के मर जाएंगे because they are deeply sown. Okay, so one reason why do they fail to germinate? Because they don't get sufficient supply of oxygen. Second important reason is, come on, it's a baby. Try to imagine, imagining a baby. Okay, उसके ऊपर आपने स्टैक करके 10 pillows रख दिए. What are you all expecting? The baby is going to behave like a Bahubali and remove all these stacks of pillow? A newborn baby I'm talking about. No, that baby is not having that much of energy, right? So a new embryo, a seed which has not even started its life, right? उसको आप deeply अंदर गाड़ के डालते हो मड में, okay, and you are expecting it will come up and grow as a new plant. No, it's not possible. For it to come above these layers of the soil becomes very difficult. Okay, so that becomes the second reason. Because of its delicate embryonic parts, it's not able to pass through the overlaying layers of the soil, right? So these are the two important reasons that the seeds sown deep in the soil, they generally tend to fail. They fail to germinate. Okay. I hope the conditions required for the germination and the process of germination is clear with you all. Next session we would be discussing about few experiments related with this chapter. Thank you.